We have such sights to show you.
Take a seat, rip open those trapper keepers, and welcome to the Horror Bull Film School. I am Chris here with Ryan Hootie.
What's up, fellas? Chris, this week I hope your lesson is how good guys, in the end, always get fucked over.
Something like that. And we also got Mr. Nasty himself, my bro from the same Mo, Joey.
Come to daddy. Who's ready to raise a little bit of hell, boys?
God,
Yeah.
creeped out. I'm creeped out already by that line.
Yeah, the rapey vibes are real. Today's assignment, 1987's Hellraiser. The lesson: everything is best in moderation. Start small, perhaps with nipple clamps, and slowly turn up that heat. So yeah, this was one I picked, blind spot for me. Well, it's hard to say I have no exposure to Pinhead because I feel like this gets referenced a lot. It's one of those big franchises from the late 80s through the 90s, but I don't think I ever sat down and, at least not in my working memory, watched an entire 90-minute showing of Hellraiser of any kind. So
I am in that same boat with you, Chris. It was a blind spot for me, and I had seen bits and pieces of this franchise throughout my childhood, and watching this film, I realized I had seen none of the first one.
right, yeah, no, that was all brand new to me.
Yeah, I've watched Hellraiser quite a few times coming up in the world. It's funny how you talk about you haven't seen it, however you know who Pinhead is.
Right, yeah, it's just one of those.
He is definitely iconic, for sure.
All right, so let me look at some fan reviews to open up the show here, just so we kind of get some context of how this bad boy was received back in 1987. I'm going to start with the positive review, because this one's so short and sweet, I found it a bit charming.
It's got titties!
Even nicer than that. By way of IMDb, from a user by the username Bevan. We'll go with Bevan. This is from April of 2020. So this is a month into the pandemic. Keep that in mind.
Nice.
I like how he has all them pins in his face. Would make a great tattoo, I reckon. Classic. 10 out of 10. That's it.
What's he talking about? Getting a bunch of
I have no idea.
a tattoo of a bunch of pins on his fucking forehead and shit?
Yeah, I didn't
Or is
really
he talking
get
about an actual Pinhead tattoo?
I think he's a tattoo of his face, but yeah.
Was there-
Well, I ain't never seen that movie, but damn, brother, that looked like a good tattoo right there.
For 2020,
There
it's
is-
like the first time we've seen this guy's face. So
Maybe it's the same guy who lives in Richmond, Virginia, who got a tattoo of the Insane Clown Posse's makeup on his face.
oh shit, that sounds painful.
That's a
as
real
hell.
guy. That's a real guy.
That's a juggalo.
I wish
sir.
I wish I was dedicated enough to something just to like get that sort of tattoo, have that sort of like fanfare.
What is a juggalo? Shout out to Mr. Brad for that one.
I mean, he must be like the juggalo now. He's got the whole face tattoo.
I think he's an honorary member of ICP at this point. So yeah, that was in 2020. I thought it was kind of weird, or not weird, kind of not unexpected that someone had made it to 2020 and never seen Pinhead's face before. Thought that was kind of cool. And I mean, watching this movie, that's the one thing he took out of it was the guy with the pins in his face. So I'm hopping on the Negative Nancy review here. We got a 1 out of 10 with the title, "This franchise should be banned forever," from Mr. or Mrs. Borislav from June 2016. I watched this film when I was a child. It scared me a lot. Now I know why. This movie is disgusting. Most of all, it makes you feel like you're in hell for real. I watched it one time. I'm not going to watch it again. After watching one of these movies, it makes you dreams nightmares or urges you to do crimes or wrong things. This movie has no meaningful message, no meaningful plot, only disgusting images of disgusting murders with no sense. I am sure these movies contributed to the rise of murders and crimes in every country where it was aired. Bottom line, this is a horrible movie. This and all the franchise, 1 out of 10, because they don't let you do 0 out of 10.
How about that? They don't let him
He
do
was
it.
offended, man. Offended. I thought it was kind of weird he would attribute this to the rising
I
crime.
think this movie was actually like banned in a lot of places because of like the sexual violence and all the religious imagery and
I
shit.
feel like this movie is the most horror movie that we've covered. You know what I'm saying? It covers all the most generic horror movie stuff to make it, I don't know, it's like a pinnacle of fucking horror movies in a way, you know? What people hate about them, at least.
The always gratifying connection of something that's terrifying and horrible to, like, the real world and mass shootings and violence is just such a old bullshit ideology.
Yeah, it's like the video games, the wave of like 2002. You remember that when they were blaming all the shit on GTA and all that?
Or the Satanic Panic blaming Metallica and fucking Black Sabbath for bullshit.
Well, it's just trying to make sense out of senseless crimes for the most part. And it's got to pin it on something. It just makes it easier to understand if you can pin it on something, you know? The fact that he watched this or she watched this as a kid is what fucked them up.
Only once.
If I had seen this as a kid, I might have the same fucking opinion. However, I was lucky in that fact. I wasn't even lucky. I don't think Mom would have allowed that bullshit. Like Chucky, fine.
Yeah.
Somebody getting sodomized while eating someone's flesh, that's a no-go.
Right, yeah. I was kind of wondering if this was one that could slip through the cracks, that we might have caught it at a young age and I just fucking forgot about it. But this is one that you definitely need to screen before you show to your 8-year-old son. Parent Corner. All right, right here I'm going to touch on some crew notes. I know we kind of usually do behind-the-scenes stuff here, but I'm trying to push that to when it's relevant in the story beats. So as far as the crew who made this, written and directed by Mr. Clive Barker, based on his own novel. Clive Barker is an English horror writer who also has some pretty prominent paintings and illustrations. You should check those out. Just Google his paintings. They're pretty fucking cool. Pretty talented guy. He directed this as his first, after disliking previous adaptations of his work, which were 2 films called Transmutations and Rawhide Rex.
Rawhead Rex.
Rawhead Rex, excuse me. Definitely a phallic name for a short film.
I think I like Rawhide Rex a little bit better.
Yeah, it's kind of like more like a badass cowboy, you know.
Rawhead Rex is a wild movie.
Is it about like a walking penis?
It's about I think he's a cop or like a gun for hire, and he's got like a weird shaped head, and it's like just a big ass.
Does it look like a penis?
From my memory, I don't think so. But probably.
Just based on reading about Mr. Barker, I'm assuming that's probably what he was going for when he created that character.
Probably.
Well, speaking of talented painters, not trying to step on anybody's feet here by jumping the gun, but Ashley Lawrence, the girl
Kirsty?
that plays Kirsty. Kirsty or Kirsty?
It's Kirsty. I feel like we're going to end up saying Kirsty a lot, I bet. Yeah.
Because Kirsty is a weird fucking name.
You just moved the vowel there. That's all.
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, and she's a talented painter in her own right. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Check out some of her works.
But yeah, Clive Barker, I feel like, is a name I've always heard, like on like a scale, and then actually looking into him in like his body of work, doesn't have as much stuff as I thought he did. You know, like he's not a Stephen King. I assume like this is the British Stephen King, you know, but he's definitely not that prolific.
There's 2 names that always bug me. They always show up the same fucking way. Clive Barker's Hellraiser, Todd McFarlane's
Spawn.
Todd McFarlane's whatever the fuck he's doing this week.
Well,
Those 2 things, like, who the fuck are these people?
Yeah.
I get it's your creation, but I guess I should do my due diligence and actually research you a little bit. But Clive Barker, fucking Hellraiser and Candyman.
Yeah. That's really it.
That's it.
That was all I really got out of it too.
Always thought of Barker in the same vein of McFarlane as well.
He didn't he do some
McFarlane
video game work too?
Was Spawn. He did like other stuff. Clive Barker did other stuff.
They put his name on so much stuff. I thought he was like such a bigger deal, I guess, than he is. You know.
Well, I think as a horror writer and like horror like comic book, I don't think he drew the comics, but I think his comics are like still even going today.
His illustrations
like
are fantastic, though. No shit, you should check those out.
he would make the little Spawn figurines, and then that blossomed into making NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, like all the figurines before NECA came around.
So it is that same guy, McFarlane.
It's the same guy, yeah.
He's just like a toy manufacturer at this point.
He's part of them, yeah, on top of the comics and
Interesting.
other stuff. And they're
Don't get me
rebooting
wrong,
Spawn.
Clive Barker and Todd McFarlane, super talented.
Oh, yeah, way more important than we are, no doubt.
Way more important, way more successful. Yeah, it still just bugs me when they say, like, this person's, whatever.
Yeah, it's like the
I don't
president's
have a
tag
fucking
or something
clue.
they put on stuff. I'm like, does it really have any power? I don't know. The other crew member I wanted to shout out was special makeup effects designer Bob Keane, who did the Hellraiser sequels and Candyman.
Dude, this guy worked on a lot of shit. Did you check any of his stuff
I
out?
flipped through it, but to me those stood out because I could see, thinking back to Candyman, just some of the way the makeup is very similar to what I saw in Hellraiser here.
Oh, yeah. He did a lot of, like, model work and stuff for movies that, like, utilize models. Like, he worked on the original Star Wars trilogy, Alien, The Dark Crystal, love that shit. The Never Ending Story, Event Horizon, 2001: A Space Odyssey. The dude and the rest of the special effects / makeup crew definitely deserve some recognition for their work here.
The only other note I have that's not into the story itself was the film was originally supposed to be called The Hellbound Heart. After the novella it was based on, the studio decided it sounded too much like a romance. Barker offered up Sadomasochist from Beyond the Grave, which was rejected for being too sexual. They ultimately opened the floor to the production team to offer up suggestions, and the best of the bunch was from a 60-year-old female crew member who offered up What a Woman Will Do for a Good Fuck. That was a good fucking
Nice.
title, man. It's a mouthful.
I would have went with that one, dude.
It's a
Pretty much
mouthful,
sums
you
it
know what I'm
up.
saying?
Oh, it was a mouthful, and Lydia got a mouthful as well, you know what I mean?
Pretty
Or
much
Julia.
sums it up. Good for her.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to her, too. She's definitely dead.
If she was 60, 30 years ago, she's 90.
She is
might be
now a
holding on.
Cenobite.
I hope she got laid that night, is all I can say.
She's a Cenobite, and her ass cheeks are, like, pulled back.
Oh,
Like, her ass, the hooks go in her asshole, and they wrap around to her pussy lips.
She saw
They literally
the lament
just hold her
configuration.
asshole open the whole time.
Yeah, you guys got any overall tidbits here?
I had two tidbits, if I could hop in here. One, this movie came to me graciously again from my local public library, boys.
It was on Amazon
Get-
Prime, just so you know.
Get
Literally
hype.
the most easily accessible fucking movie we've
Prime
done so
Video.
far on Amazon Prime.
Well, support your public libraries, people.
Supporting
And
Jeff
it's-
Bezos.
Secondly, Hellraiser is being rebooted, and at some point will be coming out in 2022, we believe.
This year? Oh, shit.
Supposedly. It is complete.
Actually,
They have
Man.
not released it.
I actually got an expansion on what you're talking
Did
about.
it get
as Judy
Batgirled?
said.
You said it's complete, but it's not got a release date.
No. No, hell no. This thing's actually going to be like legit shit. Legit shit as in good shit. It's coming out through Hulu. As Hootie said, there's a reboot of the film in the works, helmed by David Bruckner. If you know,
I do not
haven't heard
recognize
that
that
name. Yeah, dude actually has done some good shit. Southbound, which was on our chopping block for a while. The Ritual, The Night House.
Oh, I have heard these
The-
independent horror films.
I've seen
That
The Night House.
amateur night segment of 2012's VHS.
Mm.
The one where the girl turns out to be a succubus.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh, it's the worst one. In a good
That's
way.
the fucking best
No,
one.
I mean in a
Terrifying.
good way.
Crazy?
I mean in a good
Oh,
way.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
oh, yeah.
it's a
It was-
terrifying.
it's all downhill from there after that shit.
God almighty. It's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, still.
The interesting note about this reboot is it will star female actor Jamie Clayton as Pinhead,
Oh,
which
I do not
actually
recognize that
may be more faithful to the original novella, as the lead Cenobite in the novella described to have many feminine features.
interesting.
So-
So is this the first Pinhead with no Doug Bradley?
Oh no, Doug Bradley kind of got shafted on that. Well, not shafted, shafted himself. The most recent two iterations of Hellraiser have been sans Doug Bradley.
Who's,
But it's kind of his own. It was his own decision.
Who's Don the Pins? Nobody
Yeah,
knows.
it's a couple of people I don't think are worthy of noting. I guess in like 8 years or something when we cover the other two, we can fucking go over that.
Fear not, Chris. Doug Bradley played him 8 times.
He did.
Oh, yeah. He's Pinhead for sure.
So,
yeah, he's Pinhead for sure.
I didn't know there was a reboot this year, man. I feel like we're creating things in the universe just by opening
the fucking
our mouths.
year's almost over. They better come out with this shit,
man. Horse
it was
season's about to
supposed to
start.
be an HBO series, but I'm not sure if these are the same thing or not.
What?
They were supposed to be an HBO series.
Hulu just did release Prey, which was also pretty good. So good for them.
That's why I kind of have faith that this will actually be a decent reboot.
can a mainstream horror film in today's world come out on a platform like Hulu, which is owned by Disney, and be as graphic as this film?
I don't know.
This was a wild ride from a graphic standpoint.
Like everything's so dark now, though. I don't know if you get to because like the sexuality in this is like kind of whimsical in a way, you know. I don't know how you could approach that from Disney being the overlords.
Yeah, like I don't think it's gonna be some straight like bull dick fucking in the new one.
Yeah,
but like,
damn it,
I'm sure.
Damn it,
it'll be
I don't want to watch it now. I don't watch it now.
Yeah,
the illusions will be there.
Hopefully they don't pull any punches with it being a Disney-owned company. But at the same time, who fucking knows?
All right, without further ado, let's solve this lament configuration. Lament configuration?
Lament.
Let's do it. Let's get into Hellraiser.
The box. You opened it. We came.
It's just a puzzle box!
Oh no. It is a means to summon us.
Who are you?
Explorers in the further regions of experience. Demons to some. Angels to others.
It was a mistake!
Somewhere in North Africa, Frank Cotton purchases an antique puzzle box from a dealer who asks him, "What is your pleasure, sir?" Back at his house in England, Frank solves the puzzle box and hook chains fly out and tear into his flesh. Some strange-looking folks then appear, their leader, who we all would come to know as Pinhead, played by Doug Bradley, who would play Pinhead for 7 more iterations, reassembles the pieces of Frank's face. He finds the box and twists it back into its original state, cleaning the room instantly.
So Doug Bradley here as lead Cenobite, a.k.a. the priest.
The priest.
I look at this guy's like Google image gallery, and all I can think of is that meme. Like, Mom, can we have J.K. Simmons? Mom, we have J.K. Simmons at home. And it's this dude's fucking picture.
He looks pissed off in every picture I've seen.
He's the face of the franchise, man. And although he hasn't portrayed Pinhead in every single sequel, as we talked to earlier, I mean, he is the character, you know. He's Pinhead the same way Robert Englund will always be Freddy, you know.
It's hard to be the face of a horror movie villain over a long franchise because unlike Michael Myers or Jason, you can just throw a mask on anybody. But when it's actually your face, that time runs out, you know.
He and Freddy are like the only two that I can think of that have that kind of longevity.
They have the major
as
icons,
these
I would say so.
Yeah.
Could you imagine being this actor who you probably didn't have a lot going on before you got this role, and then you're able to, pump 6, 7, 8 of these films out, and then you're just living off of this forever?
I think this is one of his first roles, and he didn't want to take it because he thought his face should be out there because he wanted people to see who he was as an actor. So he didn't want to go under makeup, and lo and behold, 30 years later, that's what he's known for.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that because that's exactly the case. He literally wanted the role of one of the moving guys.
Oh, the guy moving the mattress?
The role of lead Cenobite, yeah. Just because they would see his face.
Y'all have any beers?
Close up on the chin. You got any beers? Yeah, nobody remembers that guy. You made the right choice, Mr. Bradley. I'm sure your wallet appreciates it. But yeah, this shit gets gross quick. Frank is into some wild shit. This is like a pretty wild first 5 minutes of a horror movie with no fucking context of what's going on.
His upstairs torture chamber, it looks like my freezer with all that fucking meat, bro.
It's fucking gross. I got a little note here about the box. We got to talk about the box, man. The box is
What's
is
in the
cool.
box?
So numerous props of that box were constructed from wood and cut out brass. They were produced by special effects designer and maker Simon Sass. Due to its delicate construction, he would lie on the floor under the Cenobites during takes in case they dropped it in order to save himself the 8 hours it took to create another one.
Oh my God.
That's pretty dedicated to his craft.
Pretty cool fucking box there. Takes 8 hours to build it.
Well, look, you call it a puzzle box. Let's talk about how easy this fucking puzzle box is.
It's pretty simple.
I had a question at the end of the
to
movie.
finish.
What does it mean to solve this? I do not know. Do you rub your finger on it and that's how you solve the damn puzzle?
No. You rub your finger. That's how you start the puzzle.
And you
got to stimulate.
You pick it up and twist it and push it down.
You know how you just rub in a clockwise motion to stimulate the bottom.
You got to spread. I get it now. There's a little sexual undertone through
Like when I wipe my ass, I always go in a circular.
I wasn't thinking about your butthole. I was thinking about
Isn't
the
that
sexual
good
part.
imagery there. Good hygiene.
The mint configuration. So yeah, this is super easy fucking puzzle to solve. Apparently, it's almost like they want you to solve it.
It's
so you
enticing.
Can, be escorted down to hell. Now, if only they actually used a Rubik's cube, nobody would
The
figure
damn
this
Rubik's
shit out
cube, man.
at all.
That's all I could think of the whole time.
Kirsty definitely was not going to figure out a damn Rubik's Cube.
Fuck. Eat me, I quit.
Also, this first scene, you notice how dirty Frank's fucking fingernails
I have it in my notes
did.
too. They're
It's
disgusting.
gross. Wash your fucking hands, man.
Dude, it's like he's been wiping. It's like he's over there wiping his ass with like bamboo shards and shit.
He's into wild shit, man.
It's like the first scene of the film. You see this man's nasty ass hand.
Well, I think it's indicative of the movie. They definitely were not trying to provide any pleasing imagery anywhere in this fucking thing. But yeah, the lament. Is it called the lament configuration in this movie at all? I saw it in all my notes.
It's not referred to as the lament configuration.
Okay.
But I mean, that is what it is.
So that's just like Pinhead, something that becomes part of the franchise.
Later on in either the second or third movie, it actually goes over the history of like how it was created.
Interesting. Now I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, the other two movies that come after this, they definitely like flesh out the Cenobites' history. Like the second one is it's so fucking good, but they really flesh out the actual like lore behind the Cenobites and the box and all that stuff.
I'm
And the
looking
Labyrinth
forward to
and
that.
Leviathan and all that shit.
Because this film it's like kind of like Jaws. You don't see the shark a whole lot.
Right, yeah.
Well, sure. You want to see the shark a little bit more, but you don't want to see it too much because then you see how shitty it actually looks. You know,
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
kind of the same way with the Cenobites.
This is definitely a low budget at this point, you could tell.
I think the budget was like $1 million flat.
Yeah, I think I read they got $900K up front, ended up getting it up to $1 million. They made like 40 though, so good on them. Frank's brother Larry Cotton, played by Andrew Robinson, who you might know as the sergeant in Child's Play 3, soon moves into the same abandoned house with his second wife, Julia, played by Claire Higgins, who had a secret affair with Frank. The house is fucking disgusting, and they both assume that Frank is off on one of his adventures.
So can we talk about how much Larry looks like a fucking cuckold already?
Yeah, they did not paint this man.
What's wrong with him? He's so
He
nice.
just comes in. No one, just looking at him, you can tell his old lady's gonna be fucking around on him.
He's so
His
nice.
brother's just slaying with no fucking game.
Julia.
He's a damn bad.
Oh wait,
boy.
wait. Who's about to blame the woman? Let's hear it.
No. Well, I think this movie. I think I have every right in the damn book to blame this fucking bag of.
What's
fucking
wrong with
hoe bones.
Larry? He's just like he's a nice young man.
Larry seems right. He's like a
Who
good
sees
dad.
himself as fucking Larry, bro?
He's like a good dad.
Nobody wanted to be Larry watching this shit. I wanted to be Steve personally, but that's just me.
Fuck no, I want to be Frank.
Frank.
Over here experiencing the pleasures, boy, the pleasures.
Frank was a nasty bastard.
Nah, Frank's my fucking idol. I'm gonna be telling you this guy several times of this shit. But yeah, Larry looking like a fucking cuck. As Chris said, Andrew Robinson as Larry. Watching this movie without looking up the actor, it kept bugging the shit out of me. I've seen this dude somewhere before. Who is this guy? And then it hit me.
Fucking Child's Play 3.
This is the barber
Yeah.
from Child's Play 3.
Wait a minute, a
And I
barber?
quote this motherfucker at least once a week when I trim my horseshoe hairline.
Oh yeah.
Presto,
You're
you're
bald.
bald.
I remember that one. Classic.
Also played the Scorpio Killer from Dirty Harry. And shout out to Hootie and his shitty little favorite franchise. Featured in Pumpkinhead 2.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Pumpkinhead.
Pumpkin. You got to get it right. Get that southern accent in there.
Why? So, wait a minute. We got to back up here because I have not seen Child's Play 3. I know it's about grenades and being in the Army.
Yeah, Andy's at military school. It's fucking
There
great.
is a barber who has a predominant role in this film.
No, he's literally on screen for maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah, he gets fucked up.
However,
Larry's career.
his character, it was just, me and Chris were at an age where the character stood out.
Impressionable, man.
Okay.
And also, I didn't have an obsession with barbers when I was younger. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way.
No.
However, I had long, curly, flowing locks of hair. So my mom would take me to a salon to have my hair cut.
Ooh.
And
With all the other ladies.
anytime a woman started playing with my hair and cutting my hair, I would fucking sprout a chub.
Oh, we're talking about TV
Nice.
action.
So haircut and shit has always been like, we're in a movie talking about sexual depravity. Haircutting has always been like a thing for me.
Well,
when
let's
I
think
had
about this.
Back when I had hair.
Do you see it? So you don't get your haircut. I said, do you see a barber now? Is he saying
Oh,
the
fuck
action?
no. With this
You're
shit,
looking
I
at him
just
right
shave
here.
it. I shave it in disgust. I don't even look in the mirror when I do it. it's
Jesus,
fucking
man.
gross.
So what you guys think about the flashback to Frank and Julia making love?
Oh, I think Frank was blowing that back out.
We about saw a couple of buttholes when they were like getting up. Did you notice that?
I saw his whole penis. What are you talking about?
I didn't see his whole penis.
This man's dick is in this film.
I saw the shaft.
That's what you get when you watch
yeah.
the library copy. You get the full dick.
Yeah. Well, library is very informational. Talking about biology now or anatomy. Why was this so unsettling to watch?
You talking about like the love making? Well, he pulled out a knife like he was going to cut her ass, didn't he?
Pulled out a knife. She started like sucking his fingers. It didn't seem like she
well,
wanted
I think
it, but
it's-
she did want it.
I think it's the whole, we talked about it earlier, the mixture of like violence with sex.
Yeah.
So she wanted to be like mutilated.
Well, no. She didn't want to be mutilated, but she definitely wanted to be thrown on her back,
Something that
We'll put it
Larry
that way.
can't do.
Exactly.
No, Larry just fuck up and down.
Larry's a missionary man.
Larry's I'm about to come, darling, type, and Frank's like, I'm not coming for 45 minutes. Bitch, get some popcorn. I'm going in.
Get
Poor
ready.
Larry. Larry has a job 9 to 5. He's tired and worn out.
Who do you really into fucking Larry?
Frank doesn't even work. Just lays around, does crack and meth and shit. And
Yeah,
he's-
but guess
he's a
what?
hero.
Guess what he lays around doing?
Practicing.
out? I don't
He
know.
lays around edging himself for fucking 8 hours on end.
Tantric. It's tantric at that point, man.
Can fuck for days.
I do have a note here. We're talking about the seduction scene. Barker said the seduction scene was initially a lot more explicit. Here's his quote. He said, "We did a version of this scene which had some spanking in it. The MPAA was not appreciative of that. Lord knows where the spanking footage is. Somebody has it somewhere. They told me I was allowed 2 consecutive buttocks thrusts from Frank, but 3 was deemed obscene." 3
What
pumps.
is this, like that fucking Key and Peele skit
2 pump chump. That's all you got.
where the motherfuckers in the end zone?
It sounds like the guy who made that comment might be the Larry in real life who may only last 3 pumps.
Yeah, possible.
So
She's
this
getting
is
too
the
much good dick. We got to cut
sodomy.
this.
We got all of
this
them now.
is
Wait a
the
minute.
sodomy. Is this the sodomy scene that was cut?
Yeah, there's also, they had
There was-
a scene of sodomy.
Is this it?
Which they replaced with the knife bit. I was like, so which one of those? Like I said, it's sex and violence, man, is what this movie is.
That goes to show like the American cinema or whatever American mindset of like violence is okay, but sex is like totally off limits.
I found this scene unsettling how it was. It could have been that much more.
Yeah, man, it was different. It was
Wow.
It was trimmed to satisfy your R rating.
Well,
for
we
the
got
MPAA.
different levels of shit. I could watch this just not even bat an eye.
Disturbing. Joy. Disturbing.
Larry's teenage daughter, Kirsty, played by Miss Ashley Lawrence, who was in a couple of Hellraiser sequels and also a Slipknot music video for the song Snuff from 2009.
Jesus Christ! I actually went and watched this shit, and oh my god, that song fucking blew asshole.
This lady is very attractive. Anyway, Kirsty chooses not to live with her stepmother and moves into her own place. After cutting his hand on a nail, Larry goes upstairs to find Julia in the room where Frank was killed. Larry's blood falls on the floor.
Why do I know the song Snuff?
I think it's actually one of their popular songs, but at this point I wasn't into Slipknot anymore. I was definitely on the Iowa days and all that shit. That was my stuff. This is like it's really slow. I think it's like an acoustic song too.
Oh, jeez, okay.
It is definitely not classic Slipknot. Is her name Lydia? No, it's fucking Julia. I put Lydia. Why did I put Lydia? Why is Kirsty dressed like a fucking pirate out there on the docks walking around? Anybody else notice that shit?
I didn't notice. She have like
She's
a
got old
flowing
fucking
shirt.
pantaloons and shit, man, looking like damn Jack Sparrow's sister.
Maybe she works at like your local pirate museum. I found Kirsty hands down, without a doubt, no argument needed, the worst actor in this entire movie.
I think she gets better by the end. I think she definitely comes to. Julia is the one who runs away with the show. Well, you know what? Everybody in here is pretty serviceable, I guess.
Even Larry, Joey? You gotta give Larry some credit?
No, Larry's great, especially later on in the movie. Larry is fucking great.
Twisted Larry.
Great.
Just because you out here getting cucked watching another dude fuck your old lady, that don't make you a bad actor, you know?
Did she kiss her dad on the lips? Kirsty, did you notice this?
She did, yeah. That's like a thing, man. Some people are cool with it.
There's so much. I was like, the sexuality here is just super weird. And her relationship with Frank, the whole come to daddy thing is like so many weird rapey vibes going on in here.
Was she molested? There seems to be like a molestation vibe happening.
I had that, or at least
No.
I thought he at least
Y'all got that vibe?
he saw her like in a sexual way. I thought.
Like Larry?
No, not Larry. Her uncle Frank.
Frank. Yeah,
Oh.
Frank, I think, fucked with her or something.
I don't know.
We'll come back to
vibe
it.
that I got.
We got some notes later on about it. As they leave the attic, the blood is sucked through the floorboards where some gross mass appears to absorb it. That mass was Frank, and he uses Larry's blood as nourishment to partially regenerate his body. Newly reborn, Frank rises and shrieks in pain. That skeleton is fucking nightmare fuel, dude.
Yeah, that shit is fucking dope. Before we talk about that, though, however, I hate to interject.
What?
Did either one of you notice when we had the flashback where Frank actually meets Julia?
Oh, he's coming in from the rain?
Yeah, his audio is actually dubbed.
Oh, it's because was it a British thing? Is that what the issue was?
That actor, Sean Chapman, who played the character of Alive Frank, his voice apparently didn't match what they were going for.
I think I did read somewhere
it was
that
actually dubbed.
it was supposed to be like a British movie, and they were like, well, it needs to sell to American audiences, so they dubbed over in English accents, but his was like none of his actual voice is in this whole movie.
Yeah. There's actually, by the end of the movie, there's 4 actors who play Frank.
Jesus. Sick bastard, that's what he is. But that's your boy, that's your hero.
Let's go back to the, that's my fucking dude, man. Love that guy.
Idol.
Let's go back to Frank fucking clawing, pulling his way out of hell.
God, that was fucking gross, man.
I didn't know what it was at first. I thought it was a spider.
Yeah, it definitely like took its time doing the whole reanimation.
The way the rib cage was like rebuilding itself and the fucking guts, man. Oh my god, it was so badass.
That was very, very
some
good.
of the best practical effects I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's
Is that,
definitely effective.
Just shot in reverse? Is that how they did that? I would assume it was.
Yeah, it's usually the easiest way to get something reanimated.
Well, I
Shoot it
think
falling
parts
and
of it
then
was.
cut
Parts
it
of it was like
backwards.
wax being melted and then being shot backwards, from what I could tell. But I think him pulling himself out of the floor was like, just like animatronics or some shit. I don't know what it was. It was fucking dope.
It was very cool, yes. I would agree.
Yeah, I did enjoy that. I thought that was the best use of effects in the entire piece for me.
Well, just that alone actually gets, in my opinion, makes it to where the actual makeup and special effects department or practical effects department definitely deserve recognition. But there's a few other scenes here later on that they stand out quite a bit.
And again, we praise the practical effects, obviously. 35 years later, this shit still looks good. There's 10-year-old CGI that is unwatchable now, you know.
How about right before that, where the camera pans down when the blood first hits, and it shows the heart under the floor?
Yeah, that's why I said some mass.
Like
I was like,
pumping.
I don't know what the fuck was going on with that, because I had no
I think it
idea
was
what was happening.
Like a reanimated heart or some shit. It was so cool, man.
Yeah, it was It was a cool shot going through the floorboards like
These
that.
sequences are the only sequences shot in the house that were actually shot on a set.
Yeah, because they had to move,
The
collapse
rest
the
of that
floor.
shit
and
was
shit,
shot in
right?
the house.
Yeah.
And so, like, you can tell some of these angles that it's a
Cramped.
little bit tight.
Yeah, no doubt.
A little bit cramped.
Later, Julia finds Frank, who is now played by a different actor named Oliver Smith, who played Frank as a monster, alone in the room, his body partially regenerated and grotesque. Frank convinces her to help restore him to his full physical form, reminding her that she promised to do anything for him. What a woman will do for a good fuck.
I just don't. Okay, y'all get mad at me for defending Larry. This woman is willing to talk and help a talking corpse.
It's the hellbound heart, Hootie.
Over loving her, just this fucking great guy, Larry.
Good dad. He seems like he has some
All
good
I know
money. He cares
is-
about her.
all-
It's the dick, Hootie. The dick.
All I know is go Frank over here about to slay that pussy 2 times. The 2 times.
I am just so triggered by this fucking movie.
Of all the women I've ever found attractive, and there's, of course, a lot of beautiful women in the world. Most of them are beautiful. I don't think there's a single woman I could see in this state of being and say, I'd fuck that. But Julia, that's the difference between men and women right there. She saw his potential. She didn't see him in that moment.
I was hoping this bitch got cut from fucking toes to throat.
You know what it is? Frank's dick got just the right curve to
Oh,
it.
shit.
Just the right curve, just the right angle. What's that fucking protractor? You get a protractor and measure it just right. This thing is like in the 99 percentile.
It's the perfect
Wait,
curve
is
to
it
her
99
G-spot.
percentile is good or 1 percentile? 1 percentile. It's in the 1 percentile of what's going to hit the spot.
Shout out to Good Dick, man. Julia agrees to help him, seducing men and luring them up to the empty attic. After Julia whacks them on the head, Frank drains the blood, further restoring his body.
I love how she tells the dude. He says,
Cringy,
"This ain't
dog.
the bedroom."
Cringy.
She said, "We don't need a bed, do we?"
Damn.
Hell no. Go ahead and climb up on this thing. Let's get on the
I
floor.
think one time she was like, I like doing it in the floor.
She a freak.
How is this lady pulling down so much dick?
No. Don't even start that shit.
I'm just asking.
If she did something with that fucking haircut of hers,
The
man, she'd be
haircut, man.
bad as
That's what I
hell.
said. If you put
Well,
Kirsty's hair on her,
Back
maybe
then,
it changes
that
the game for me.
haircut was fucking hot.
Well, you guys will think about it. She's going to a local watering hole during the day, so the only people that are
that's
drinking
true.
heavy are like true alcoholics because they're day drinking, and that's the people who are like just horned up and don't give a fuck.
She didn't take much convincing, is all I'm saying, man.
That dude took his pants off, had the tighty whities on with the fucking dookie stain.
Damn, yeah. When's the last time someone got laid in tighty whities? Friends of the show, send us a message if you have evidence of that, because I don't think I have any in my history at this point.
Okay. She thwacks him on the fucking head. Frank rolls up, all crawling and shit. Don't look at me. I say the same. I be saying the same shit when I'm on a date and some bitch look at me while I'm eating.
While you're taking
I
a
feel
dump,
you, Frank.
don't look at me.
Don't look at me.
Joey
I'm
is
over
just
eating the
shoveling
cheeseburger. She's
food
looking
in
at
his
me
mouth.
like fucking eyes open. I'm just like, I just put up a damn like a divider while I'm eating. That way you ain't gotta witness
Joey
it.
puts a damn menu up in front of his face.
Frank tells Julia about the puzzle box, which he still has, and explains that by reclaiming his body, he has broken his deal with the Cenobites. He wants to fully regenerate himself and run off with Julia before they can track him down.
In this scene, I believe, if I'm following it here correctly, Frank touches Julia for the first time, correct?
Yeah.
Ooh, I got a note about this.
And
he
she
leans
like
in.
fucking wets her pants, man.
Oh, baby. Damn, Frank goes right for the titty.
He
Yeah.
does go over the titty.
Don't go to touch a face or nothing. My man. Y'all talking about Frank? Frank go
He
right
doesn't
for the
have skin.
titty. He's got fingers, don't he?
He's got nerves, baby.
Larry is a perfectly good human fucking being.
Did you see Frank's dick, Hootie? Yes or no?
At this point, I'm at a note. He doesn't have a dick. He's just a
Even
corpse.
fucking better. Imagine how big it is going to
Talking
be.
corpse. God.
One of these motherfuckers is working with a cucumber. The other one's working with a damn plantain. You can take your damn guess who's working with what.
Nice guys finished last. There you go, Hootie. Shout him out. Kirsty eventually catches Julia bringing a man home and sneaks in the house to investigate. As she approaches the attic, a bloody man stumbles out, followed by the skinless Frank. Before Frank can grab her, I knew I was going to fucking do it. Kirsty picks up the puzzle box. When she realizes it holds power over Frank, she tosses it out the window, escapes the house, picks up the box as she runs away.
Right before she actually discovers what's happening with Julia and Frank and all these other guys, she's at work and she works at a pet store.
Yeah, that was a weird
where
scene.
this homeless man is like snacking on crickets and shit. This homeless man's been stalking Kirsty the whole fucking time. However, there's this bitch at the counter with a damn parakeet. She's like, I want to see your manager. This bird keeps shitting everywhere and calling me an old whore. And also, how to come every time we see Julia after she starts killing other dudes, she looks more and more like Bridget Nielsen in Rocky IV.
I'm telling you, dude.
With that pompadour ass hair.
The hair is what she looks. More. It's like a Catwoman thing. Like she just completely fucking transformed when she picked up that hammer. She looked like David Bowie by the fucking end.
Yeah, she's becoming more evil with every kill. And how can we best show that to the audience? Drago's wife's hair.
Nice.
She's the epitome of evil in Rocky IV. So.
Kirsty awakens in a hospital where we assume she was dreaming until a doctor hands her the puzzle box. Kirsty begins to play with the puzzle box and solves it. I got a question mark here because I'm not sure what the fuck solving it means. The walls of her hospital room open into a dark tunnel. She goes in there and, of course, a gross-ass monster begins to chase her. She escapes and the wall seals up behind her.
I had two questions here, none of which pertain to the fact that she solved that puzzle box, which is a very good question raised by you.
She was so fucking happy doing it on the bed, too. She had, like, her feet crossed behind her, and she was, like, giggling. Like, what's going on?
This hospital, I thought this was a part of a dream because it was so creepy and old and just, it didn't feel right.
Yeah.
And then why do they lock the door behind them when they leave the room? That doesn't seem safe, for one thing. What if it's a fire? They're just going to burn to death.
Yeah, we don't really get resolution, but I'm not sure if this ever really happened or what was going on. Maybe Joy knows.
It happened, from what I assume. But what I get out of that, Hootie, that's actually a good point you bring up. I feel like the doctor wasn't actually a doctor. I think it was probably like just a minion of the Cenobites, because the doctor actually gives the lament configuration back to Kirsty at this point. You just think about it. A doctor wouldn't do something like that.
That's a good point.
You know? But yeah, I think this whole sequence right here, the chase may have been a dream, but what happens afterward is definitely real.
Right.
I think the doctor literally says, take some time, figure this thing out. We'll be back.
Exactly. She did the hair flip. I had that note specifically in the hospital bed. This chick's fucking hair just drove me wild. I'll go ahead and throw that out there.
Loves the hairspray.
And I had a question here about the thing in the wall. Was it me or was it shaped like a dick? Is this about Kirsty's sexual awakening at some level here?
You know what? That's very. I mean, it's not that.
Kinda.
It's something else.
First of all, it's not that.
But I guess I can see it being interpreted that way.
This is the same man who wrote a movie called Rawhead Rex.
Yeah.
Rawhead.
The creature was actually what they refer to as the engineer in the.
Sounds like a dick to me.
And what it is, it's pretty much an amalgamation of a bunch of like different animals and shit, and it's supposed to come off like a failed experiment that actually guards the labyrinth of hell. This is like the only movie we actually see this creature, this being.
Mm-hmm.
But how hard did you guys watch this scene?
I didn't watch it very hard.
I don't think I was aroused when I watched it. Is that what you're saying?
All right. If you would have paid attention, you would have seen the actual dolly behind him, where the fucking people.
Like in the dark.
Pushing him.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm glad I didn't.
You can see it clear as fucking day several times. They left it in there on purpose, I think. Mm-hmm. It's just it's pretty great.
I couldn't even see the buttholes. Apparently, Hootie could see everything, so maybe he could.
I mean, I saw Frank's whole. I could draw a picture for you, Chris.
Well, Amazon Prime they cut me short on the butthole. I'll tell you that.
Well, Hootie, I've never seen your butthole. I guarantee you I could probably draw a picture of it, too.
Yeah.
I ain't talking about butthole. I'm talking about that's all the man's full shaft and head.
Oh.
Thanks to the local public library.
He saw that little piece of skin on the bottom. Yeah, he saw it all. Once again, the Cenobites appear. Pinhead, I guess it's not right to call him that, but we're going to do it anyway. Pinhead tells
Hell
Kirsty
Priest.
that she has summoned them, and therefore they must take her to their world of pleasure, pain, and suffering. She begs to be spared, offering to lead them to Frank in exchange for her freedom. She escapes the hospital and races to her father's home to warn him about Frank. And here we get the iconic bit of dialogue. Demons to some, angels to others. Definitely a tagline.
I didn't understand why that was said or what it meant.
I guess it's the whole idea of sadomasochism, right? Some people think it's torture. Some people think
it's
it's the ultimate ecstasy.
Oh, like
That's a really, it's a huge theme of this movie.
What's it called?
Is
S&M?
S&M. There we go. Yes.
it's sadomasochism is what it's referred to as. Very Marquis de Sade, if you guys
Oh, look at this guy.
keep up with some of that shit. Yeah, let's go over the roster of the actual.
I have a
Damn
favorite.
Cenobites.
Cenobites.
I have a favorite.
Let's
Pinhead's the
talk about
best. Come on,
Cenobites
man.
right here. Pinhead, aka the priest. Barker hated the name Pinhead. I think he still does, which is what the crew came up with jokingly. And the fans have definitely
Yeah, it's like,
called him out of reverence.
it's like the whole Baby Yoda thing. Like, it becomes marketable because the whole world, we just name it for them, you know.
Yeah, but outside of Pinhead, I think the Chatterer is probably considered like the most famous of all the Cenobites.
He was badass, man.
Yeah, he
What
was
is his
badass.
name?
Oh, they fuck his makeup up in the rest of the
The
movie. It's
Chatterer,
terrible.
is that right?
The
He fuck him
Chatterer,
up in the
yeah.
other movies? That's
Yeah,
just,
yeah, he
that's-
doesn't. He doesn't look like this in later movies.
He reminded me
It's
of...
because the makeup. The makeup is like it hurt the actor's eyes and shit.
he reminded me of that game on the 64. Do you remember that shit? Nightmare Creatures or something like that?
Oh yeah.
He had like a...
I actually think
Has a
I
very
think
similar
he was
design.
inspiration for like Silent Hill.
Yeah, I could see
Like
that
some
too.
of their designs.
Definitely had like a video
which you
game
also,
villain quality to him.
Yeah, he was great. Butterball. We have Butterball with the sewn up eyes and the slit up his gullet. We also have female Cenobite.
Yeah, it's a terrible
It's referred
fucking
to
name for it.
as Deep Throat.
Ooh.
But they changed it, or they decided not to go that route with it being over sexualized. But I like to call her the throat goat, aka pussy neck, because her
Okay,
neck
we're
slit
Jeez.
going here.
equals,
Okay, we'll just keep going here.
Joey got into
vagina.
it. Everything's vaginal, man. Everything is
Is she in the
vaginal
sequels
and
as well?
penis.
Oh, she's literally at one point they're talking about the pain and pleasures being indivisible to each other, and she's literally like stroking her neck slit, her neck twat.
She found the clitoris right there where the Adam's apple would be.
Is she in the sequels, Joy?
She is, however, her character doesn't look the same.
Oh my
Not
god.
as good.
These sequels sound terrible.
Well,
Joey, you're selling us
they
some fucking
definitely.
Billy
I like the
Goats, man.
second one. However, they kind of fuck up like the makeup on a lot of these guys.
But you
Wow.
can't fuck at Pinhead. That's why he's the coolest one, man. He's just an iconic fucking look.
He's the coolest, maybe, but he's also the simplest.
Exactly.
He's very
That's
simple.
why he's the coolest.
It's
'cause
hard to fuck that up. However,
It's just iconic look, you know.
the ninth one
Don't hold your breath.
fucks up Pinhead quite a bit. Once we get there in about 14 years, you'll see.
So, a quick question, because I had to look at any of how the makeup was done. Is his makeup like a cap they put on, or is it individually put together?
I think it's in.
Oh, it's piece by piece.
Yeah, it's one at a
Jeez,
time.
Trust
They
me,
said it's like
here,
6 hours of makeup every day to get that.
No, it was like 9 hours. I thought.
Oh, fuck me.
I mean, 6 hours and 9 hours. Yeah. It's
Well, that's
Yeah,
why
that's
the
his
movie's
face.
all of 10 minutes.
That's his actual face with shit stuck to it.
Oh, wow.
We ain't even talked about their actual costume design.
Yeah, it's all a lot of black
Like,
leather with holes and
It's
nipples hanging
so
out and shit.
fucking good, man. It's
A lot of
so
trench
good.
coats.
So memorable.
I figured you'd be
Love the
more
trench
into this
coats.
kind of stuff, man. I'm not a leather bondage type of guy.
I'm not in the leather, but hey, bondage that ain't too bad.
Hey, man.
But yeah, it's like I think the actual costume designer took inspirations from like
Mad Max.
S&M, punk, the punk culture, as well as like the Catholic Church, in designing these very, 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 very recognizable costumes.
Yeah, the Pinhead skirt. He's got like a very, like he said, he called the priest. He definitely has that like that aura about him. I guess just the way he moves and shit. So
It's funny. Cenobite actually means priest, or like disciples of like religion. But I think now people just think Cenobite, you automatically think of fucking Hellraiser. They definitely co-opted that word.
Larry informs Kirsty that the Frank situation has been handled, but Kirsty finds a bloody corpse in the attic. Cenobites reappear, demanding the man responsible for the death. Kirsty believes they want her father, and she runs to warn him. However, she soon realizes that Frank has murdered her father and stolen his skin. Come to Daddy.
You skipped over the fact that Frank killed Larry, put his skin on, and then had sex with Julia, and Julia absolutely loved it.
That was the best dick Larry had ever thrown.
Oh, it was all Larry's skin except for that dick skin.
He kept his
left the
foreskin.
dick raw, boy. He left the dick raw.
I bet that was fun. Yeah, I was super confused
that's
actually in the first pass. I was like, she just really wanted to fuck Larry? Like all this shit just got her bothered to go fuck her husband? I didn't get it. Until the bloodline in the hair, of course. A lot of this was very subverted, I guess, like we're talking about the sexuality and stuff. And then now the fact that he's using the actual term "come to daddy" and he's wearing her daddy's skin, some cerebral shit going on here.
At this point, has Kirsty found out that her dad is not her dad?
Yeah, that's like when he drops the "come to daddy" line. That's him when she clicks. That's my uncle, because that's the creepy shit he used to say. Because according to me and Hootie, he probably tried to molest her when she was a kid.
This scene,
Good chance.
as well as like a previous scene, they have like two of the most quotable lines from the movie.
What you got?
And this one, I'm gonna start saying all the fucking time. Pinhead, once Kirsty starts freaking out about her opening the box and they're gonna take her soul to fucking hell and tear it apart, he says, "Oh, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering."
A waste of good suffering. I do remember that.
So fucking good.
I feel like they parodied that one somewhere before. I've definitely heard that.
Yeah, and then Larry with one of the fucking Larry did such a good job as Frank. Oh my god, because a lot of his shit was improv. He said, he whips out that fucking switchblade. So much for the cat and mouse shit.
He goes straight Barber from Child's Play 3.
Oh, it's so good, man.
He was very good as Frank, yes. And then something happens, Chris. What happens?
Well, let me tell you how it goes. Frank attacks Kirsty, but ends up stabbing Julia instead. He drains her of her blood, because fuck it, further nourishing himself. He then goes to the attic where Kirsty is hiding. She accuses Frank of murdering her father, and he basically confesses, so the Cenobites reappear. Frank lunges for Kirsty, but is once again hung up and torn apart. Right where we fucking began the movie.
Oh, such a good sequence right here.
So did he just, he stabs Julia.
Yeah.
He immediately, sucks the whole blood out of her body?
Well, it's one of those things. He probably stabbed her in the fucking organ that's gonna kill her or some shit.
Okay.
So it's like, hey, you know what? Bitch is on her way out. Suck her dry.
I think this is also pretty emblematic of the fact that he had no real emotional attachment to her. She was just somebody he fucked.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing. He definitely used her. She was a fucking means to an end.
Yeah, she was just flesh to him at that point anyway. And the iconic line here, where right before Frank is ripped to shreds, is "Jesus wept," which was a replacement. The original line was "fuck you."
Yeah, it was Andrew Robinson who recommended the change to
fucking Andy, man, he carried this movie.
But dude, he did great right here. But Frank licking his lips all hooked and shit, that's some of the most memorable imagery in horror movies.
He did not fucking cry, man. He enjoyed it.
He hits him with the Jesus wept, man.
What
That's
does
the thing,
that
'cause
mean?
It's not about just pain. Some people find pleasure in pain. I think that just goes to show this character was just super fucked up.
The way I took it, Hootie, was that he's saying when Jesus was on the cross, he cried because of the pain. But here I am getting crucified, and I'm fucking
And the
loving
way
it.
he had his arms, yeah.
It's the whole pain versus pleasure.
Oh, so he's like,
both his hands.
Like,
And
Jesus
Jesus
wept,
wept
but I'm over here coming, you know.
Hold on.
I got you.
Y'all saying it wrong.
Fuck me, right?
Do it the way he fucking said it in the movie.
Correct yourself.
Jesus wept. And fucking pulls him apart, dude.
Eek.
Explodes his ass.
Shit was rough, my guy.
God, it was
And
so
down
fucking
goes
good.
Joy's idol.
Down he goes, man. Never to be seen again.
The Cenobites still want Kirsty, so she flees, finding the puzzle box in the process, somehow in the clutches of Julia's dead, faceless body, I think, at this point.
Yeah, I didn't get that either.
Her boyfriend Steve, who we hadn't mentioned at this point, lucky bastard, arrives just as Kirsty is undoing the box and banishing the Cenobites. Just before they escape, the monster from the hospital appears. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a penis. But Kirsty hits his ass with the Rubik's Cube as well.
I got real Evil Dead 2 vibes from this thing that pops to the wall here.
Yeah, kind of like where the tree monster comes after Ash at the end.
Yeah. Looked almost
see that.
identical.
He wasn't as big, though.
Wasn't as big, no.
But yeah, the whole Lydia thing's kind of solved.
Who
in
the fuck
sequel.
is Lydia?
Not the. Is her name Lydia?
Kirsty.
Fucking name?
You got
No,
some.
not Kirsty. Not Kirsty.
Julia?
Julia. All right, the whole Julia being on the bed thing.
One of the ladies, Chris.
It's a big part of the second movie.
Gotcha.
Not to spoil alert to anybody.
Oh.
But yeah.
So somebody, hold on,
the-
wait a minute.
This
You can't
fucking
just
chase
drop.
sequence.
Somebody put her in the bed?
What?
There's a
Somebody
reason.
put her in the bed in the sequel? Is that what you're saying?
Well, no. We'll wait to the sequel.
Spoiler alert, Eddie.
We'll discuss it. Then.
Sorry,
Spoiler.
I got very excited.
I want to leave the audience with a little bit of
We
Give
should
us
start
some corn
calling
on
who
the
you,
cob.
anticipation for the next one.
before I forget, we're gonna start calling who you rawhead from now on. Just throw that out there.
Raw hit. But yeah, this whole chase sequence, man, where she's going down the flights of stairs and running into Cenobites, and then she is like just solving the box on the way.
This was a bit goofy. This got a little goofy for me.
This right here was super goofy. These special, because these were special effects.
Yeah, these look bad.
Looked like shit.
The disappearing,
Terrible.
the way they disappeared looked
They
bad.
were awful.
Yeah.
They were terrible.
Stick to the
This
practical,
was
damn
actually-
it.
There's a reason behind that. These were actually done over a single weekend before the movie was finished.
Oh, you mean all the banishing effects?
All the special effects and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They had deadlines.
Obviously didn't care too much, but for it to be like a single weekend, ain't that bad.
Yeah, it's better than I could do in 2022 with a single weekend. So.
But it's what's fucked up, and my boy Butterball goes out like a punk bitch.
He had to take off the shades,
Everybody
though.
else gets fucking zapped. He has like a goddamn brick fall on his head. He just goes.
Oh,
down.
yeah, that's right. He's still in play, I think, man, at that point.
He's still walking around.
He's still out there somewhere. Afterwards, Christy tries to burn the box, but the strange homeless guy from before picks it out of the flames. He transforms into a winged skeletal thing and flies away. In the final scene, the box is back with the OG merchant. He asks a new man, "What is your pleasure, sir?"
That's the homeless man that's been stalking
Kirsty.
Kirsty the entire movie. The puzzle guardian is what this being actually is.
Oh, he has actual canonical. Like, is he in the
Meant
sequels?
to,
He's a thing?
Oh yeah, he's in several movies.
I
I
was
think he's in
confused
every
by this
movie
so
up
much.
until like the fourth one.
What'd you say, Hootie?
So I was so confused by this because he turns into just a skeleton dragon.
Oh, it comes out of nowhere. It's supposed
what-
to allude to it the entire movie because it's like she is destined to interact with the box and be the one to destroy the box.
And he does what for the
He's
box?
making sure that doesn't. He's making sure that doesn't
He
happen.
protects the box.
Yeah, he makes sure the puzzle survives.
So yeah, that wraps up Hellraiser from 1987. So I think this is an obvious question. We always say this, but we always come up with different fucking answers. What memorabilia you guys want to take home from Hellraiser from 1987?
So I know that we will be covering the other films. Apparently, there's 10. Maybe a reboot coming out, so make that 11
Yes.
in the coming years. So I'm going to pass on the box at this point. The one thing I don't think we even touched it. I don't even think we even talked about this weird random thing that Larry found in the house that made
All right,
him
man,
know
you're gonna have the same answer.
that fucking Frank has been there. And that was a glass figurine of a couple having sex with the insertion built into the glass figurine. That is what I'm taking from this film. That's wild.
I'm gonna go obvious here. It's the fucking box, man. The dude took 8 hours to make it every time it was created. It's intricate. It's cool. I want to figure out how to fucking solve it because apparently it's really fucking easy in this movie. So, cool party trick, man. You can never beat the OG. You always take the mask. You always take the box on the first ones, right? Come on.
So yeah, Hootie already alluded to it, man. It's got to be Frank's porcelain sex statue. However, I do have a second part to my answer. But that sex statue, Hootie, do you think it was like a pipe or what?
Something
I
thought
like
it was
you
a
could
pipe.
smoke
It
out of?
did look.
It was very, very, very fucking intricate.
It was very.
Like I could probably in a pinch, I could jack off.
I wanted to shake the
Hey.
man's hand who blew that like glass out of the.
Who
the
blew his
whatever.
load into that thing?
I'm
Hey,
just
I wanted
saying,
to fucking blow.
that is some
fucking load
intricate
into this
glass work, man.
It was pretty good. But for me, like I said, Frank's porcelain sex statue. But since Hootie took that, give me Butterball's robe. His whole little setup, man. Especially the slit up the gut and the hooks holding it open. I can fit more Pizza Hut Cinesticks with the extra belly room.
Yeah.
I want some Cinesticks now.
Don't forget the fucking dipping sauce, my boy.
Let's put on our glasses here, be the professorial men that we are, and give a letter grade out to Clive Barker's Hellraiser from 1987.
We all know what I think of this franchise, or at least this movie in general. As our listeners know, much of my childhood was spent watching various horror films, but for obvious reasons, Hellraiser wasn't among them. The violent sexual nature and religious imagery wasn't on the menu in our household. And I'm kind of glad it wasn't, as I think this shit would have triggered something in a young, impressionable Joey. I didn't see it till my mid-20s, and revisiting it in my mid-30s has been just as much of a treat as it was back then. The story is unique and well told, and even for a tale based on the abstract concept of heaven and hell, it feels human at its core. The burning sensation of lust and desire, even beyond the grave. The costume design of the Cenobites is just fucking cool, as are the practical effects throughout. Namely, Frank reemerging from hell. That's some shit that'll stick with you forever. But in contrast, the special effects, like the purple sperm coming out of the limit configuration, look like shit. And some of the acting is suspect for sure. But don't let that sway you. As 1987's Hellraiser is a classic, and the birth of a horror icon in the priest, aka Pinhead. So I give Hellraiser a B with a little smiley face next to it. It's that good.
It's cute.
I will go next. Hellraiser was a blind spot for me. Again, I knew very little other than the tidbits I've seen probably on Sci-Fi throughout the years. I was shocked at how little of Pinhead and his entire gang you actually see in this film. It plays as more of a morbid love story than a creature feature, in my opinion. The special effects were incredible throughout the film. I think we pretty much pounded that into the ground as we went along. And just a big shout out to that creature at the end with a huge connection to Evil Dead 2. And with that, I shockingly am going to be higher than Joy. I gave it an A. I loved it.
Well, for me, I could say my gut reaction to what this was hit me within the first 5 minutes. The nausea was fucking real. I can see why I tuned out any memory I may have had of this story as a kid. I thought one of the most interesting tidbits that we kind of encountered in the trailer was Stephen King talking about how Clive Barker was the future of horror. And that's kind of always thought of him like on equal footing with Stephen King. But looking at this, I could see he's definitely a more granular type of writer. He's not as sweeping. He's not as formulaic as I kind of assumed he might be. With someone that has kind of a expansive repertoire like a Stephen King, you kind of get similar themes and shit like that. So this movie is like I said earlier, the most horror of fucking horror movies. It's sex and it's violence and it's cranked up to a fucking 100. Some of the effects kind of showed their seams with like the skin tearing away with some of the hooks and shit like that, but that didn't take away from like the visceral reactions that I was having watching this shit happen. The concepts are unique. I don't think I've ever seen a more sexually based horror movie. It was more erotic than I assumed, but significantly less Pinhead focused than I imagined it would be. I am glad to have this sorted out in my mind. It's almost there, but it ain't the Candyman, bitch. I'm gonna give it a B plus though.
I heard you come around looking for the Candyman.
Candyman just fucking hit me.
Part
Dog.
of that too is like, you know how Jason, everybody thinks of Jason, like Jason didn't show up to what in his
Real Jason's
traditional
3,
look
right?
Till like Jason
Yeah.
3. It's I guess it's the same thing with Pinhead. Like his real character doesn't really develop until the second, third.
Right,
movie.
I'm definitely looking forward to see what he's all about.
Yeah, because I've heard you
Oh.
say that.
He's not even the antagonist in the second one.
He's not even
Yeah,
really
but-
antagonist in this.
Yeah.
I've heard you say that you actually feel bad for him as the movies go along.
All right, boys, letter grades in the books. We're going to review our audience score from Rotten Tomatoes as it pertains to Hellraiser from 1987. Start with the high man, Mr. Hootie. Thought this would be a 78%. I went with
My grade reflected it.
He was there. I went with a 70. Joey was 65. So we're all kind of in the wheelhouse there. The actual audience score for Hellraiser is a 72%, which puts myself back in the driver's seat yet again. So I can't,
Jesus!
because I can't fucking lose. I'm the Tom Brady of this.
I'm so tired of this shit. I'm gonna quit this podcast, boys.
I'm the Tom Brady of this game we made up. So let me just get this dirt off my shoulder real quick.
You also kiss your son on the fucking lips, don't you?
I even made a note about how weird it was. This lady kissed her dad on the mouth. So fuck you. Jesus wept. So I know I kind of have ranted, gone back and forth, choosing things I want to see, choosing things to just shut you motherfuckers up. I like to volley back and forth across the millennium. I feel like there's definitely a divide when you hit horror in like the year 2000. So we were back in the last century. Let's get back on our side of things. Let's watch something that I personally have what seems to be a grudge against. And I'm anxious to revisit because I have close to no fucking memory of this movie. Let's go check out Cabin in the Woods.
We saw this movie together, Chris.
Exactly.
Dude, I fucking love this
It's a good
movie.
Let's
Let's go.
I remember thought it was just an overrated piece of shit, but
It's
we'll
got
see.
Thor in it, Chris. What more do you want?
Okay, whatever you say, my guy. Captain America's not in
I
there. Fuck
love
it.
when movies like hold a mirror up to themselves. You know?
Scream already did it better. That's all
what-
I'm gonna say.
Oh God, here we go with this boring ass shit.
All right, let's hop on YouTube. Check out the trailer for Cabin in the Woods. I think it's from 2011. Let's go. Rated R.
Everybody ready? Get the show on the road!
Doesn't even show up on the GPS. It's unworthy
Hemsworth
of
was
global
normal
positioning.
here.
That's the whole
Who the fuck are these people?
Get off the grid, right?
This is right after Thor, right?
Hello? I'm thinking this
It's
thing
very
doesn't
close.
take credit.
This is a
for
year
us.
before Avengers, man.
Sign says closed.
We're looking
Lake
for,
guy's been in a
what's it
lot of
called?
stuff as that
Tillerman
same type
Road.
dude.
To get you there,
He's in the wrong
turn
turn.
back.
Yes.
That's your concern.
Oh, this is awesome.
It's just sucking off the Evil Dead, man.
Whoa.
Who walks into an abandoned cabin going through the hostel?
Fucking CGI. I already see it.
Think again,
Lambs
Chris.
have passed through the gate.
It's not CGI.
They are come to the killing floor. Get this party started!
I seriously believe something weird is going on.
Oh shit, that's boobies. That did not age well.
What is that thing?
Joss Whedon,
Have to stay together.
Who was Josh Whedon?
the guy everybody
This
hates.
isn't right. We should split up.
Yeah, good idea.
Really?
That dude looks familiar.
We gotta get out of here.
Oh, he was in that Detroit video game.
Somebody said.
You know what's good about this trailer? The fact that they leave
You want to see us punished?
the meta half of it out of with the trailer. For the most part.
I think I can get it to go down.
There it is.
Do we want to go down?
It's such a good movie, Chris.
It's so good, man.
I'll say that trailer looks better
Like,
than
I don't
remember.
even know if I'll like be able to talk about it all that much because I'm gonna fucking enjoy it. Like, I'm gonna be sitting back and just watching.
It does look better than I remember. I'll give you that. But for some motherfuckers who always complain about
Yeah, I
VFX, that's all I fucking saw in that trailer. I'll tell you that.
Well, if it's
I mean,
done
it's-
right, sure, I'm fine.
Oh,
with it.
don't
If
give me
it's a
that.
movie
Yeah, it's
that's
all right
made
if
to be
bullshit.
relying on
It's
that.
after 2010, man. You can't expect but
Get
so
the
much from
fuck in.
today's era.
Come on, dog. Got some double standard talking out both sides of your mouth, motherfucker.
Practical effects are kind of dead, man. Sadly.
No, practical. I have much more reverence and respect for practical effects.
All right, fellas, what do you think about that trailer? What's your guess for this modern classic bullshit? I'm going to assume people overshot their wad here and say this is an 80%.
Let me go with not as hyped as you seem to be, because I think some people are a little bit more cynical like you. 75.
I remember this movie coming out, and at the time, all of us were really into Rotten Tomatoes, and I feel like I kind of know what this is. I'm probably going to be way off, but I'm going to go with 88.
Thank you for listening. Check out the website, horriblefilmschool.com, to find us on all podcast platforms, as well as links to all the social outlets. Give us a follow, leave a review, send us some artwork. I like artwork. I'm going to offer my support to women coerced into seducing gross men into an addict in an effort to resurrect your former lover. I say this too often, but I do not mind repeating it. Men are basically all the same. Find yourself another eel in the ocean.
And as always, if you're hearing our voices in this beautiful podcast, tell at least one person you know, spread the love, spread the campaign. Want to give a shout out to the Horrible Film School Instagram page. We have recently passed 500 followers. Looking forward to the next 500. And of those 500, please reach out, communicate with us, talk to us. We'd love to hear from you. And with that, I am out.
Thanks for all the likes, the subs, the listens, the follows, the downloads. We really appreciate you guys' support as well as your time and attention. Be sure to join us next time when we spend an evening at the cabin in the woods. Class dismissed.